Comics Live. Today we have with us Kris and Kris. How often do you get that? Welcome to the show, both of you.
Thanks for
Thank you.
having us.
Yeah.
Um, before we get into anything else, I would love for you guys to introduce yourself and how you got into comics in the first place.
Perfect. Well, I'm never short for words, so I will take the first one here. I'm Kris with a C. I got into I host a YouTube show called LongBoxPunk, and I talk to indie creators about their comics. Usually, I'm on the other side of this conversation. And I This is my first comic book. This is my first campaign. This is my first time doing a podcast tour to talk about my own comic book. So it's incredibly different, even though I do this all the time. I first got into comics as a kid. I was reading stuff like Savage Dragon from Image and Shadow Man from Valiant, and of course the X-Men. And then high school and college happened, and I got away, as so often is the case. And then after college, I was like, you know what I want to do? I want to read some comic books. And I went back and picked up a handful of books, and it was just a avalanche from there. So I've been in and out of reading comics for the better part of 3 decades at this point. All sorts of stuff, all running all sorts like superhero, thriller, noir, mystery, slice of life, and then specifically now I'm really into the indie comics. Horror comics are always going to be a win for me, and so that's those are kind of some of the things that led into creating our comic Barricade Brigade.
Amazing. What
And
about
then
you, Kris?
I'm Kris with a K as opposed to Kris with a C. Um, let's see here. I started reading comics. The '80s Ninja Turtles TV show was where it really started for me, and then I had read a few like Archie's digests before that, and found the Archie comics Ninja Turtles run that took me into things like Zen the Intergalactic Ninja, and then I found the X-Men, and I never looked back. Um, Along with that, like kind of like Kris said, Image happened, and Wildcat and Young Bloods and all these just amazing looking books. I don't know about the stories because I haven't read them in forever, but they looked great. Um, and then, I got to about 13, 14, and unfortunately sold off my collection. And then I had a
Oh,
long gap and was like, hey, after your doctor's appointment, I'd like to go to the comic store. And what I was hoping to
you went
find,
you went to therapy before the doctor was.
yeah. I was like, I've been wanting to get back into comics, and what I was really hoping to find was I had also been buying Tales from the Crypt reprints back in the 90s, and I didn't find any of those, but I found so many, and I got in trouble for how long I was inside. And I've never looked back.
That's such an amazing story. So and thanks for the introduction, both of you. What was the catalyst for this story, Barricade Brigade, issue 0?
It's a
How
great
did that come
question.
together?
So, Kris with a K had been like tuning in and watching my show talking about indie comics and talking with all the creators, and often it comes up with like, do you have a message for like anybody that's watching or listening? And a lot of creators just kept saying like, make the thing, do the thing, create your comic, like make art, write stories, make comic books, like do the thing. And I think and I'll hand it off to UK here, like ended up reaching out to me and saying, hey, I've been watching your show and I keep hearing you say to like make comics, and I want to make a comic. Do you want to make a comic?
Yeah.
That's
that
so good.
that was very very much what it was, because your famous tagline of not being able to draw your way out of a paper bag, which is not the case anymore, sir. um Even if it wasn't true back then, because you had a style even if you didn't know it. um and I was just like, hey, I've been working on these things and your shows inspired me to start doing my own stuff. Do you want to make a comic? And here we are after a couple awkward phone FaceTimes and a lot of texts. And I mean, it was like having a play date for,
But
adults is what it
Yeah.
was,
yeah,
with
like
no toys. Like, we had to make the toys up too. This was great.
yeah, it was very much the so comics, huh?
Uh-huh.
And like, his social media handle is Punk Rock Chris. Obviously mine is LongBoxPunk. So I was like, okay, so we're both like aging punks at this point. So,
Yep.
what if we did a story about a punk rock band, and they're standing up and fighting against the corporate man, as it were, and so that's where it started. And then suddenly it was just a deluge of ideas, and quickly we had a three-piece band that you can see. So
Yep.
Five with the mohawk, he's our roadie. He's also the one that's trying to record their first. Hot Watermelon is the band. He's trying to record Hot Watermelon's first tour and get them to open up on camera so that he can make like a documentary, because he has big aspirations of having that picked up by Netflix and getting all of these things made. And the band is kind of like, all right, let's just go with it. Like Five's excited,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
okay. um, we've got Sarah, who is she's on bass and one of the lead vocalists, and she is very much a no nonsense, kick your teeth in on stage, but also like be your best friend and biggest supporter off stage. For me, I've got Native American heritage, so my family can be traced back to the Abenaki tribe, and so it was important for me to represent in some way that Abenaki heritage. And I like, I think that might have been the second thing that I said to Chris, like,
Mhm.
let's do a comic about a punk rock band. One of them has to be Abenaki.
Yep.
And he was like, great. And so
Yep.
that's Tolba.
That's
He is
fantastic.
our drummer. He is Abenaki. He's got the tribal logo on the back of his battle jackets, and it's gonna tie in as we go with this story, more of that heritage. And then we've got Mick, who similarly to me with like wanting to represent my heritage, Chris was like, well, hey, let's like, I would love to have a Hispanic character as well. And so enter Mick. He is the guitarist and the other vocalist, and he's kind of the like, he has two sides to him. He's got the on stage where he is this big, rowdy front man, and then off stage, as you can see in the preview image here, he's just kind of like, hey, hi,
Yeah.
okay, like very
Very.
soft spoken, very chill, saves it all for the performance. So
Uh-huh.
Yep. Yep. And I'm sure when he's performing, he'll just go all out and
oh
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
Oh yeah. And you get to see that in this first issue too. So
That's amazing. That's amazing. So I have to ask, which band is this inspired by? Is it just a band you thought of, or like, does it have any real world inspirations from any punk rock band, especially their music?
Okay.
musically, I would say they're inspired by a lot of bands. A
Mhm.
lot of bands. This kind of an amalgam of bands that we both grew up loving. Ska punk bands like Operation Ivy, Less Than Jake, Rancid. Get into more bands like No Effects, and you could even come a little bit further, but still with more aging punks, and say stuff like Frank Turner is a big influence as well because of the message and the performance of the music.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really a melting pot. I don't think either of us really vocally said, like, oh, it'd be cool if our band was like insert whatever band
Mm,
here. I think
Yeah.
it was more just because there are so many great punk bands that have had really powerful messages over the years. It was kind of picking and choosing little bits and pieces from all of them that we just kind of put in. And at one point, like they're performing on stage, they're doing their first big show of their tour. And the lyrics that are in that band in that moment weren't really anything like we just kind of were spitballing ideas, I think, on a FaceTime. And it
Mm-hmm.
was like, ooh, that's a good line. And like we just started capturing it that way. So it was really
Mm-hmm.
just like, what would like a punk band that's playing to like 7 people in a dive bar, what would their message be and what would their mantra be? And then trying to capture that. And so that's where their like attitude and their songs all come from.
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
And it really helps that I've spent plenty of times as a very frustrated musician with the hardest time to find people to play with, and these songs that I think are really worth something and they're not going anywhere, but
Yeah,
they got my whole heart every time I want to play them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow. I've had like it's been like I've had a few different like punk rock themed comics and people who are inspired by punk on the show as well. I'm pretty sure you might have met uh,
Sean
Sean
Sunday.
Brick. No, not Sean Sunday.
Okay.
Guns of Brixton, Sean
Oh, yeah,
Golding.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Guns of Brixton is a legendary punk song. So,
Yeah.
and Adrian Kolrick,
Hmm.
he has a comic called Trakovi,
Yeah.
and Trakovi unabashedly plays Snafu songs on his audio cassette player in his car. So, it's as punk as it gets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Cherkovy actually, like, it's funny with Adrian because he was one of the first people when I started the show, a year and a half ago. He was one of the first creators that reached out to me, like, hey, so you're doing this show about comics. Can I send you mine and you read it and review it? And I was like, you want to send me your comics? Yeah, absolutely. Like, I hadn't even thought of that before. And then he was the first one that like took that chance and sent me his. So he actually
That's
just emailed
fantastic.
me. He just completed like a tick bootleg comic. It's like 37 pages or something. He just emailed it to me actually like earlier today. So yeah.
Wow,
That's cool.
Yeah.
that's very cool. Awesome. Tell us a bit about the reward tiers and what can people expect from the campaign in terms of rewards.
Yeah, so we one of the things that we were super intentional about was keeping it as easily accessible as possible. So we wanted everything to be as cheap as possible, especially with like it's an 8-page story. So we want to keep it super cheap so that we can get it into as many hands as we possibly can. So we've got the digital tier, which is like $3. We've got a physical, like just one copy of the book is $5. We've got Chris's cover, which is that black one with the green in the middle, or I did my take on his pencils, which we call a punkified cover. That's like my style is it's just Sharpies and everything is purple and pink. And so like my cover is the exact same where it's at $5. So you can get both covers for $10. The we didn't want to have a ton of extra stuff this time around. We wanted it to be purely about the comic. With shipping being the nightmare that it is right now, we are only shipping to the continental US and Canada. And even Canada, like we weren't initially going to do, but we had a handful of people reach out, like, hey, I would love to get a physical copy. So we looked up how much shipping is and we created 2 Canadian specific tiers with shipping included, because it's
Yeah.
like $17 to mail it
Oh
from
wow.
Ohio just to Canada. I'm like, come on.
You
Like,
could
what are you
drive there for
doing?
cheaper.
Yeah, like I could almost hand deliver it and save money.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
we had some great community people in Canada that were like, I want to get the physical, like I would love to do that. So all right, like we put together the tier. And so we've got 2 Canadian tiers, one for Chris's cover, one for my cover. And then we've got the commission. So you can get a 6x6 commission from Kris with a K. We have a limited number of those. There it is. That's currently like the top tier that we have, and it's $25 US. So the other one that was our top tier was Be Our Woo Guy, which we've all been to the small shows, and there's that one guy up at the front of the club, waiting at the stage front, like, woo, and nothing's happening, right? Like, we've all been there. And so we wanted to have a tier, like, if you want to be our woo guy, you can do that. And so those sold out immediately, like in the first hour. All 3 of those were gone. So then I was like, all right, cool. We've got the commissions. We do have a couple add-ons. Like you can get a print of the cover. You can get a guitar pick, which has been popular. So we've got the Hot Watermelon logo on one side, and then the CHK Comix, which is the imprint that Kris and I started. You can get it's double-sided, and it's like a white pick. So those have actually been selling the most of all of our add-ons, which is cool. But yeah, that was all Kris. With like, because like we should do guitar picks, and I was like, yeah, I mean it's a comic about a punk band. Yeah, that fits. Okay, cool.
It's a fantastic idea. It's a fantastic idea. No, I love that. No, I think it's very different from what anybody's has ever done. I'm pretty sure people might have done similar merch, but if it's merch that ties in to the campaign and kind of expands the world of your comic, there's nothing better than that. That's amazing.
It was partly inspired. So I've backed a ton on Kickstarter. But one of the books that I backed is called Drumsticks of Doom from John Westhoff.
I love those books.
Oh, they're so good, right?
Yeah.
He does because it's about a band, like, and I've got the button right here. He did the button with the logo, but it's got the like super metal looking font.
So good. So
cool.
Right? And I was like, that's dope. And then because I just brought him up today, he did a patch of Drumsticks of Doom. So I was like, that's something that the band would have on their jacket, right? And so I was like, well, what stuff like that we can do? And then it was like, okay, I gotta reel it in because it's just the intro. It's like our ash can. We just are trying to build a base now, but like chapter 1, when we get there, then we can start. Like, I would love to do a patch for Hot Watermelon, and really start leaning into, like, Kris has a really badass thing that he wants to do.
You want me to tell him?
Yeah, that's your cue.
Okay, yeah. Drumheads. So I found a place that'll do custom drumhead printing. So I would like to like sell those as something that you could print and like wall mount.
That's such a great idea. Fantastic.
Oh, and I did say the other one, the custom guitar pedal, because I build guitar pedals too.
Wow.
So a custom guitar pedal that's like something the band would use is another one that we're going to do for the next run.
Wow, that's such a beautiful idea. I think you should do that for sure. If you ever think of backing out of that, don't do it because that's a beautiful idea.
And all the music stuff is all him. Like, it's because I have never been a musician. I love the music. I support the music, but I don't have the coordination to make the music. So all of those ideas are purely spinning out of his brain. I'm like, yeah, but we could make a cool T-shirt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I'd love a T-shirt. I've already been told. Now, granted, it's my wife and she's biased, but she wants a Hot Watermelon T-shirt. So, like, okay, we're gonna sell at least one to me.
Yep.
Actually, 2, because I'd wear it too.
Same. Yeah.
So we'll sell 3, maybe 4.
Yeah.
Totally worth it.
I'll get one too as well.
Perfect.
Okay. Sick. We're almost at a half dozen.
That's fantastic. So, do you have this like arc already planned? Like how far along have you planned this? Like how many issues or like how many parts have you planned already?
So, one thing that we both talked about at the beginning of all this was how much we love a nice trade, a square bound, you get a full story at a time, and we're just like, that's what we should do. And we already have at this point the outline for the next story that we expect to be at least 60 pages, but I'm hoping, 60 to 80
Yeah.
ish,
Yeah,
some
something like that.
even number in there. I don't have to think in, that's the other thing. I don't have to think in 4s now too. I can think in 2s. That's great.
Yeah.
um, but we've already got start to finish an outline ready to go and flesh out that leaves us in a place where we will very easily be able to continue on into other ideas that we've already got that feel far out there, I'll say. Um,
Yeah, we're like in the all of the texts that we've had and all of the emails back and forth and all of those things, and plus working in the shared Google Doc that we've got, like we have a ton of ideas that we're just writing down to capture them, and then it's a matter of figuring out how those fit in at a reasonable pace instead of, because you can't take like, I've been watching a lot of pro wrestling, and you can't take someone that's like super green and right off the bat and automatically put them into the biggest pay-per-view of the year. Like, they're not ready. And so that's
Yeah.
kind of how the book is. Like, we want to get to WrestleMania, but we got to work our way there first. And
mhm,
so it's a matter of like, okay, this is a really big, like, it's going to take some significant setup. Let's put that maybe in chapter 2.
yep.
And so
Mhm.
like it's more of that, but yeah, we definitely have a firm, like a really, I think, fun like chapter 1 premise that we're excited to get to. But like, it's kind of a, okay, so I had this idea, let me jot it down, but then get back to the campaign currently, because like
Yep.
we have the campaign currently right now. But
Yeah.
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 that's the
Like I was feverishly typing the start of the outline for story 1 after this while we were campaigning, and was like, I've got other things I have to do right now, but I had to get that out.
yeah.
If I didn't, it was not going to come out. So it's
And if
out
you
there at
lose
least.
if you lose those ideas, you always regret. You're like,
Eh,
I had that great idea. I can't seem to remember it right
uh-huh.
now.
Yep.
And I feel bad because I think I've lost it now.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
That's why I can't even go on a walk anymore without having my phone, because the notes app comes in clutch and I'll be like, that's how I end that. And it's just how it happens.
same. Like, yes, I almost like even have considered. So I usually, and this might be TMI, but I don't care. I usually like plug my phone in my office, and I don't sleep in the same room where my phone is, mainly because like I just don't want to be connected to it. But the amount of ideas that I've had in like through dreams when I wake up, I'm like, oh my gosh, that would be an incredible. If I don't grab my phone that second, it's gone. And
Yeah,
there are
yeah,
some
yeah.
notes that I look at that I'm like, where did this idea come from? I'm like, that must have been a dream, because I don't even remember writing it down. And but yeah, it's I've considered just keeping it, or like I can record on my watch is the like
Mm,
fix. So I'll just start
mm.
vocal recording the what I can recall, and then I'll go back and transcribe it later.
That's fantastic. Awesome. Cool. I think we're at that part of the show where I put you guys on the spot and ask you, what's the top 5 pop culture things you guys like?
Top 5.
Mm,
Let's go back and forth. That'll make it easier on both of us. And I'll go first, because I kind of already mentioned it. I have been just really catching up with pro wrestling. I grew up watching it, and it's similar to comic books where I watched it as a kid. I kind of fell out for a little bit, and then I got to a point where I was like, why do I care what other people think? I love watching pro wrestling. It's so much fun. And so I just started watching it again, and my wife grew up watching it. And so now we watch it together. And so we've really been enjoying, we're catching up on Money in the Bank, which like just happened like 2-3 nights ago. So we're catching up on that, and that's it's been a super fun show. So I'm trying not to be as judgy about it as a lot of the online fans can be, fans with heavy air quotes, because they just want to pick everything apart. And I've been in that position, and I'm like, why am I doing this? I love this. Like, just be a fan. So I've really been rediscovering being a fan of pro wrestling, and it's been a ton of fun.
That's
So
amazing.
that's my first one. You're up, Kay.
That is a hard one to top. Jeez, that had all this story. It started with your childhood. I mean,
I'll give
jeez,
a 2-word answer next time.
you literally came off the top of the ropes on that. I mean, my God. You know, how do I follow that? Okay, real easy. Having a local comic shop that is a true third space, like getting to go in there, even if I'm not going to buy anything that day, and hang out with a bunch of people that have very similar interests and watch people get ready to start playing their Magic games and their Warhammer games, because I do games as well as comics in the shop that I go to. Uh, Shout out Wizards Asylum in Tulsa, best shop around. Um, it's amazing. Like everyone there is just like friends, and it's so cool. From like the kids, and I love seeing the kids come in and like digging through the back issues with their parents. That's so fun. Like
Yeah,
just the best. I'm gonna go
very
with that with
nice.
for number one.
It's
That's
solid.
amazing.
I will go. Uh, I'm a big fan of the Disney theme parks. Um,
Ah,
I never went to them as a kid. My wife did though, and so when we hit our 5-year anniversary, we had saved up enough money, and it was like right after COVID, so everything was super cheap, and we went, and it was just overwhelmingly incredible.
yeah.
Everything was themed, everything.
Mm-hmm.
We just went for our 10-year anniversary in January, this past year, like 4 or 5 months ago, whatever it is now. And the first time we went, I was overwhelmed with how incredible everything was. This
Wow.
time, I was overwhelmed with how inspirational Walt Disney as like a human being was. Just like he was such a punk because people told him, no, you can never do, you can't build a company on animated cartoons. You can't do that. And he
Yeah.
said, okay, well, watch me. And, you know, took Mickey and Minnie and made all of these things. And fast forward 80 years, and he's got this incredible, like, global dynasty almost. I don't know what else to call,
Yeah.
like
Oh,
it's
it's an
bigger than
empire
just,
for sure.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, and so every time I was taking pictures of trash cans at the parks, because every single trash can is themed for whatever area of the park that it's in. And I just like to
Wow.
Amazing.
do that level of theming and attention to detail.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss. I love it. So
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
that'll be my second one.
That again, yeah, that is not a 2-word answer, sir.
I know.
However,
I know.
that is, you are 100% correct on every bit of that. Like, I don't think you can do better than like that. That is a legacy.
Yeah.
Like, they could never make anything new again, and this legacy would continue and continue and continue. It's just amazing. And maybe kind of stepping into that, I'm going to go with a person on this one.
Mm.
It's someone that I think, like, every time I think, oh, wow, that he's really cool. Oh, shit, he's really cool. And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's Mr. Reed Richards himself, Pedro Pascal, just
Yeah,
continues to impress me with who he is as a real person
yeah,
and his talent as an
yeah,
actor.
yeah. I can't agree more. Like whatever interviews like the more I see of him, the more I like him, the more I'm impressed. Like obviously as a person, but also like his body of work has been just
Yes,
phenomenal. You know, like just
yes,
the amount of variation he has in his work as well. Like
yeah.
even the he elevates the material, so to speak. Like if
Mhm.
you've seen that movie where him and Nick Cage are just chewing the scenery. Uh,
Yes. That movie is so great.
Yeah.
I would watch it
it-
right if you put it on. I would watch it right now. Like it's just the best.
yeah, yeah, amazing. We're number three.
All right, number three. I'm gonna steal similar to your idea of a person.
Ooh,
Um, two-word answer: James Gunn.
I
that is
agree,
that is
hundred
a
percent.
top tier answer. Oh my goodness.
There was the answer. Because I have to talk about
I
it.
know.
I love that man's passion for comics and
Yes.
for creating and telling stories. So much so that like seeing I don't watch any trailers, like I just don't because they give everything away. But
Hmm.
seeing that man post on social media on Free Comic Book Day that he was at comic shops, like buying
Yeah,
books and
Hmm.
picking up Superman books and picking like looking at the Guardians of the Galaxy books and just like his excitement about comic books, not just like, oh yeah, I made a quadrillion-dollar movie, um, and broke every record all the time. Like the fact that he still goes to comic shops, and it's not just Free Comic Book Day. Like he regularly posts coffee and next to a comic book as he's reading in his studio or whatever. And like I just think as a person that's making books based on comic books and telling
yeah,
superhero stories, like I have full trust and faith in him for DC and the DC movies. Unlike I've never had this kind of faith for any DC anything.
Hmm.
And now that he's the head, take it. Go for it.
Yep.
definitely. You know, like it's funny. Like even before he helmed Guardians of the Galaxy, he had done so many other like superhero and comic book style movies.
Yeah.
You know, Super is obviously his like uh, an independent movie.
Yeah.
The first movie that he wrote as a writer was called The Specials. I don't know if you've ever
Yeah.
heard of it.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's not
which is
streaming
again
anywhere, which is
no,
awful. It's a travesty.
yeah, it's such a DIY kind of movie as well. Like you can see the special effects are like created at home. It's not very well produced, but it's still something like if you're a James Gunn completist, you have to watch it. So yeah,
Yeah.
and Scooby Doo, you know, or the two
And
Scooby Doo movies.
when are we getting Scooby Doo 3? Like, come on,
Yeah.
James Gunn. Take a step.
Yeah,
I mean, even DC owns the rights to Scooby Comics because they did Scooby Doo Apocalypse. So you can't tell me you can't do it now, James,
Yeah.
because we're on a
It,
first name basis. So,
you are, and it's also in canon completely. Just do it.
yeah,
Call
yeah.
just do it.
Sarah up and tell her she needs to get dressed and come to work. That it's
Yeah.
that simple.
Even I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent, but that
This is
movie's
great.
casting was just spot on. Like
It was so good.
Oh my
everybody
goodness.
was just spot on. Yeah,
Yes.
I loved seeing Seth Green try and be a thug. Like, that's still one of the funniest. Like, sir, what do you. That's
He's
perfect
shorter than
casting.
I am. Like you can't do it, sir.
He's the same height as my wife. Like, sir, you can't. Come on now.
Would you like a step stool? Can I get a box for you?
It'd be amazing if you had a butler that just set down a little stool so he could
yeah.
step up and get in people's faces.
Now I can tell you.
That's what cracked me up about Iron Man 2 as well. Like Charlie Day looks like so tiny compared to everyone else in that
Yeah.
movie. Like
Mhm.
I hated that movie, but that whole like he was the one that made that movie for me. You know,
Yeah. Yep.
it's such a good Justin Hammer. Like he just did that role so well.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Chris with a
Okay,
K, your
yeah,
Oh,
turn.
I'm on number 3. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with some comics for this one. Images redos slash extra stories within the Universal Monsters world have been so good. The Dracula, the Creature from the Black Lagoon, Frankenstein. They're doing Invisible Man now.
yeah, they
I'm
are.
waiting on a trade on that. I haven't read it, but I have full faith that it is going to be amazing based on what I've seen of the others.
Yeah, see, I would love not to steal yours, but like I'm also super hyped on those. The Frankenstein series was incredible.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I was reviewing that for Nerd Initiative and like
Hmm.
connected with the series artist, and he was so like he has the passion for the original Boris Karloff movie that it was like, okay, you're the right person to take this series and make it. And so I love that they're like being very specific with who they're choosing to do those, because
Hmm.
it's not just like a hey, guy that writes horror, you want to come do a horror book with us? So it's one of the Universal Monster. They're like, oh, you have a history of showing James Tinian that you love Dracula. Would you want to
Yes.
do a Dracula book? And like that type of, you get people that are passionate about it,
Hmm.
making
Yeah.
it perfection. Like it's
Yep.
just so good.
Amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think like vampires is and you know like all the whole lore just keeps reinventing itself. Like right from like being super dark and horror and that kind of thing to like what
Mhm.
we do in the shadows like camp and
Yeah.
I'm all for it, you know, like I just love vampires being thrown into different situations, you know, like
Hmm.
because they
Yeah.
always yeah.
Circling back, did you see Renfield with Nick Cage?
Oh, such a good movie.
I haven't
It's
seen that
so
yet. I need to
good.
watch that.
I loved every single bit of it.
It
I
was so much fun.
also, yeah, Nick Cage could be one of my, I love that man. Unironically, I think he's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah, like I for last there was obviously you everybody knows that there was a period where Nick Cage was just doing like absolute garbage like red
Yeah.
box movies,
Yeah.
um and like he's good even in them, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
I'll watch them at least once.
At least once. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
If it's bad
but
enough,
when
twice.
yeah, exactly, yeah. I mean, I can't watch John Travolta doing those movies, but I can definitely watch Nick Cage doing those movies.
Yes.
That's the difference. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, the man was funding his dinosaur fossil habit. Like, how much cooler do you get?
Right. Right. Like just from the get go, funding his dinosaur bone habits. Like, just the fact that he has the, like, no, I collect dinosaur bones. Like, just, all right, Nick. Okay, buddy.
Yes.
I don't, how are you real? Like, how is this real
Yeah.
life, dude?
I got a
There's
map, and it'll lead me to the next dinosaur bone.
Okay, let's go.
there's a story about Nick Cage and Leonardo DiCaprio fighting over a prehistoric man's skull at an auction. Like they were just going after each other at
My
an
goodness.
auction. Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh my god. I want to see this become like fisticuffs with the skull in someone's hand.
Oh, that's great. I'm writing that down.
Yes.
Um,
Oh my
that's
goodness.
so good. Yeah, I not to jump ahead of you, but I think I'm going to use Nick Cage as my fifth.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm just a fan. Like
Yeah.
he's weird in real life, and that only adds to like adding the character of Nick Cage.
Uh-huh.
And like one of my favorite movies is The Rock with he and Sean Connery, and like I've legitimately seen that movie like 700 times. And it's just so freaking good. But then
Yeah.
like you get into the, you know, I mean, like you said, the red box movies. Have you seen Willy's Wonderland?
I have heard of it. I haven't watched it. No.
If you can watch that movie, it skyrocketed into my top 10 Nick Cage movie list. It's so
Okay.
good, and it's so unexpected. And they have comics that continue the story, so it's a
Okay,
double
so
win
that's
for
why
me.
I'm familiar with it. I've seen the comics.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like Chuck E. Cheese meets the Five Nights at Freddy's with Nick
Yep.
Cage, and it's
Oh my god. Okay.
Because I think I saw a video of Red Letter Media talking about it a
okay,
while
yeah.
ago. With like I think they were doing a double review of Five Nights with Freddy's and uh yeah and this one. So yeah,
That's so
that's
great.
how I know.
That
That
would be
is
an
so
awesome
great.
double feature.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness, yeah. Oh man.
amazing. So
Okay.
you have two left, K.
I have two left. Okay, man.
We're
Mr.
going. We're doing really well, by the
Jumping the
way.
line, snaking the line at the skate park over here. This guy. You know, speaking of skateboards, I'm going to say right now, as a person that wants to get back on their skateboard but hasn't yet, skateboarders, I mean, from what's happening in LA to being in the Olympics, being considered legitimate for once, but in the face of whatever from in that wide space, you show up and people are skating and you're just one of the homies. You're just a homie. Everyone's there, everyone's supporting each other. It is as punk as you can be without calling it punk.
That's
So,
amazing. I agree.
Also, I don't know that I'm ready yet for Tony Hawk to be doing the like, do you need to increase your bone density? Take
dude,
this
what's
new
he doing
calcium.
with those commercials?
I,
It's
every
killing me.
time I'm like, you're not that you can't be that old, Tony. You can't be. And then I look at him, I'm like, oh, you are. Okay. Okay, got it.
But
Perfect.
no, he, it's kind of like the classic rock thing.
Yeah.
There
How
are
he's
songs
now
that are
like,
not classic rock. I don't care that they're old enough. They're not. They're just not. Don't need to be called out like that on the rare occasions that I listen to FM radio. It just doesn't need to
right.
happen.
Yeah. Yeah, all too familiar with that.
I know.
As
I
we gotta
was
see my iron later.
listening to what I missed the other night and got to hear that you're very familiar with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Freaking oldies WGRR. Get
I
out
know,
of here.
right? What are they doing? Man.
Do you know Tony Hawk is a it has like a recurring role in some of Marvel's animated shows. So he's a character a character in one of the preteen shows for Iron Man, and I think even in Wolverine. So he's made cameos in a lot of Marvel animated
That's
shows.
awesome.
That's super cool. I knew he was on
Yeah.
Yo Gabba Gabba, which that
Great
was a
show.
super fun show. Oh my
Uh,
god.
Produced by
Loved
the
that show.
Aquabats. Get out of here. Get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would force my daughter to watch that because she was right at that age that it was
Uh-huh.
perfect for when that show came out. And I was like, yo, we can watch this one. We actually went as the like Yo Gabba Gabba crew for Halloween one year.
That's sick.
Yeah.
That is super sick. Yeah.
Amazing.
There's a deep love for that show for me. Um
Yep.
not that it's current or anything, but like
Dude, DJ Lance Rock was at was that Lollapalooza? He was at one of the big music festivals like 2 months ago, and
oh my
like
goodness.
blowing up, popping off, and like he was one of the main. He did a
That's
DJ set.
amazing.
Yeah, in the like full orange with the fuzzy hat and everything. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's so good.
That really is.
You're not off the
Oh,
hook yet, though. You still got
I
one
know.
more.
I've still got one more. I was gonna say
Get
Nick
there.
Cage, but I can't go with that because it's been used already. Because he really is just so
He
freaking weird.
is.
It's so awesome. I love
Yeah.
it. Like
Have you watched Pig? I mean, that's the like that's one of my best movies ever. Like my most favorite movies ever. Like
It has no right to be as good as it was.
yeah.
Like,
no,
Nick Cage owns a pig who's a truffle pig. There's a movie. How is it that freaking good? Like, how? That man shows more emotion for that pig than I have for my own family. Like, I don't even get it. I don't even get it.
Oh, your poor family.
No, that lucky pig.
Uh, yeah, I can't disagree with that. Oh, that's so
So
great.
you can take Nick Cage because I got another one. Just yeah, I'll gift you Nick Cage. You're welcome.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I know, right? Because if we're talking about national treasures and just like people that are such incredible human beings, Keanu freaking Reeves, like making insane movies, jamming on a bass with his band, like just being so kind to fans and like everybody has ever done any like movie or worked with him only ever has positive things to say about him. And like
yeah,
that's the kind of person that we need more of. And
yeah,
Yes.
also like we only ever need the one Keanu Reeves because
Yes.
no one can ever be that.
Hmm.
So like he would be the other one for me that just like anytime I see him on any late show or anything, I'm like, up, stopping and watching because it's Keanu.
Yep. It's like he literally listened to himself when he was in Bill and Ted to be excellent to each other.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really that simple. Just be excellent to each other, and you can get away with doing anything. It seems like.
yeah,
yeah, yeah. And that man can do no wrong. Like he's like an awesome comic book writer.
yeah.
Awesome, like
Berserk is insane. Like,
Yeah.
still, I think I don't know if it still holds the record for the top, but it's in the like top 3 kickstarted comic book funding goal things ever of all time.
yeah,
Jeez.
yeah.
He hosted the first comic book based panel at San Diego Comic Con in Hall H about Berserker.
That's
Like
fantastic.
that's how like it at San Diego Comic Con there had never been a comic that was held in Hall H before, and Keanu and
Wow,
Matt freaking Kent did it first. So I'm a
that's
huge Matt
That's so
amazing.
Kent fan too.
crazy.
Like I will always stand Matt Kent any chance I get. But yeah, like they're just and even like I had a chance to talk to him about working with Keanu, and he was like, he's such a creative mind. And like he
Yeah,
just had all of these ideas, and it's a matter of like you have to take those ideas and make them make sense. But once he gets the ideas out, he trusts the creators that he's working with to do that. Like he's not
yeah, yeah.
nitpicky, he's not any of this. And I was just like, man, how is he that freaking cool?
I
Yeah.
know, I
Jeez.
know. We were very lucky to just spot him in Brooklyn when they were shooting for John Wick, one
Oh,
of the
That's
John
that's
Wick
awesome.
cool.
sequels. So yeah, yeah,
That's super
yeah.
cool.
But he's fantastic. Love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. We're coming to time, but before we go, I would love both of you to make an elevator pitch on why should somebody back your campaign, and just take a minute and give people a spiel of your comic and campaign.
Okay, I'll let you go first so that I don't take your words again.
That's okay. Well, okay. So if you like punk rock, if you like communities that stand for themselves and for each other, if you like damning the man, if you like suspense and action and maybe a little bit of gore and horror. Who knows? It could be anything in there. Um, there's a spot for you here. Just because it's about a punk band doesn't mean you have to be a fan of punk rock or look a certain way or listen to a certain kind of music more than some other kind of music. This is a story that anyone could enjoy. So come join the party. We're punk is for everyone unless you're not for everyone. So come on in.
Nailed it.
Amazing.
All right, so I'm gonna go a different route. Barricade Brigade is really the summation of 39 years of reading comics and being a comic book fan and wanting to create my own. That is now real. Like, it's already funded. It's gonna happen. I'm gonna hold it in my hands, and there's an intangibility to being able to hold a lifelong dream in your hands as a reality. And so that drive to make it happen, that DIY mindset that, is often talked about in the punk rock circles, it's not just like a catchphrase for us. It's a way that we live. And
Mhm.
working with Kris has been insanely rewarding because we're so like-minded that this story really was so easy to write and create because it was constantly just back and forth there. We don't have, I'm the writer, he's the artist. Like, we're the co-creators of this book. His hands are all over the writing, my hands are all over the artwork. And so there's no way to start where one ends and another begins. So we co-created this book together because we both wanted to see and make comics about things that we like. And so there are a ton of Easter eggs. There are a lot of hidden things that if you know, you know.
Mhm.
If you don't, there's still plenty of heart. There's still plenty of grit. There's still plenty of action. There's twists. There's surprises. And there's a lot of tongue in cheek sarcasm that comes through. And so if you want to and are hoping to help someone's dreams come true, Kickstarter is the place to do that. Like, yeah, Disney is where
Fantastic.
dreams come true, but Kickstarter is too, because there's so many creators that are making incredible things, and this is
100%.
our thing. So
Yeah.
come be a part of it. Meet us in the pit, and we'll
Yeah.
make space for you.
Amazing. Well done. And congratulations once again for getting it fully funded. We can't wait to see your trade paperback, what you come up with in the next iteration of the comic as well. Yeah, thanks for coming on the show, Kris and Kris. Really appreciate your time today, and
Yeah.
yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your campaign.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having us. This was a lot
Yeah.
of fun.
Thank
The
you.
time flew by. So
Yeah.
this is great talking.
That's what
Absolutely.
we love. That's what we love. Awesome. Thank you so much. Till next time. Stay gold, everyone.